Hello there, guys. Welcome to Bloodwatch. I'm your host today, Scrivo, and as you can see, I am the pretender. I don't really play World Eaters, but I am today joined by two exalted champions of Khorne. In the face of it, it's Aarron, who is currently over in the States, and our boy Swizzly. How you doing, Davey?
Hi, how you doing? I'm
Somewhere
good. I'm good.
in southern England.
In southern England.
I think we're in the hotter part of the world right now compared to America. Still,
Fucking
somehow.
feels it. It really feels it. And John, don't play yourself down. You do play well. It's just not yet.
In my head, like we were talking before the show, and you were sort of saying about units. And I was like, "Yep, that's what I was expecting of Goremongers. They do a thing. Yes, they do. I'm so
They certainly do.
pleased that they're not just another cheap scoring unit." So, yeah. So tonight we're going to chat about you two both went to an RTT each, right? Obviously not the same one because that would have been a long commute for Aarron. They normally only do 6-hour commutes for an RTT, not like 12-hour flights, right?
Yeah, be a bit on the long side.
Yeah, you've got one next weekend. It's a 4-hour trip, isn't it?
Oh my god.
No, next weekend I've got one that's like an hour and 20, but in August, I think it's August the 19th, I've got one that's a 4-hour journey down to the coast.
That'd be cool, though.
That's a 2-dayer, that's a GT. I wouldn't do that
An
for an
actual
RTT.
GT. Cool.
Yeah.
Right. So before we get into the actual events, do you want to just kind of give a little kind of run up to your kind of where you are with World Eaters? Like, so starting with you, Aarron. So you've not had them that long as an army, right? It's like
I started
than a
them
year?
I started them when I moved over here, so it's almost been a year. But I think I've done my first event with them maybe the start of this year, end of last, maybe December. But yeah, no, just been. I like combat armies. I like things that are fast. So I find that they are a very fun army to play. Usually both for yourself and your opponent, because either it goes well in some ways. There's always some bit of fun going on. But yeah, no, literally, obviously the new codex has come out quite recently. This is the first set of games I've played with them since the new rules came out. So it seems to work much better on the table than it feels it works when you look at it on paper. So definitely happy with that.
because you're very much when you get to play now. It's when you go to events. You don't get to have pickup games. You don't really do TTS, right?
No, it's something I've never really done. I've never really got behind TTS that well. I did it very occasionally, and the same with practice games. The time I have to play is generally always at events.
Understandable.
No.
What about you, Swizzly? I hear you're a bit of a hive mind, but this doesn't seem to be very hive mind centric to me. I know that hive minds probably have a skull, but that's probably as tenuous as it gets, right?
Oh, yeah, some of them have skulls. I don't think all of them do. I mean, technically the weapons are alive, so they don't have skulls.
Yeah.
They just have those
Maybe
weird eyes that you sometimes paint. So a Tyranid player through and through, really. So last year I decided, right, I'm getting another army. I don't want to spend a fortune. I've tried loads of other armies to get into. I've tried like CSM, I've tried Eldari. And as soon as you start looking at all the data sheets, you're like, I don't want to buy all these data sheets. So I was looking at World Eaters and I'm like, I love melee. And this was when Tyranids, this edition have been Tyranids, essentially. They're a shooting army. So I was like, I want to punch people in the face. So I decided to pick up another army. I was like, all right, World Eaters will be a laugh. Let's try that. So I got all of that, I think, like January last year.
Yeah.
And started building it up then.
Because it was the Christmas box, right? You did that whole thing of like, well, I'm World Eater main. Like several of the team.
Yeah, a few of us. But I think I'm the only one to survive it after that box.
I bought the box and it sat in a cupboard.
Yeah, it happens to a lot of us. So I've had I think in total, this will be my fourth kind of period of playing them. But it's kind of I'm bored of Nids now. Oh, I'm not bored of Nids, but I need a refresher, something else. So I go to them for that. But I've always done all right with them. I do as well as I do with Nids with them, which is
not
positive.
so much, is it?
Yeah. Fair point. But yeah, at the start of this year, I was doing Vessels of Wrath. I gave that a go. Yeah. That was good fun. We took that to Leicester,
Nottingham.
Yes, because it was when the Spanish lads came over, and that was good fun. But it was, it was just a different world. Now this new books came out. I've had 5 games with it now total. No, 6, because I played that. I played the Rhino detachment on stream.
Yes.
You can go and see that. That's on the channel.
Gore track. Nice.
Gore track. So as Aaron says, when you play like Berserker Warband, it looks a bit goofy on paper, but it actually comes together quite nicely. Gore track's the opposite. You're like, oh wow, this is great on paper, and then you put it on the table, you're like, I am wet flannel paper.
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything to anyone except move blocking with 10
You've got
Berserkers.
really cute tricks that don't necessarily win the game.
3 of my stratagems are in the movement phase. Yeah, it's good fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, been loving it, and then lost every practice game I had until this RTT. So I'm always a big advocate of practice games are there to lose, tournament games are there to win.
As long as you like learn from those practice games, it's nothing worse than having a practice game and going, I don't know what I could have done differently. At that point, you're like, I'm beyond help.
Yeah, 100%. So
should we start with your event, Aaron? So is this in Charlotte, where you're kind of roughly based?
This is about an hour and 15 north of Charlotte in Winston-Salem.
Oh, Salem. Witching country.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's a 30-player RTT up there. I took a Berserker Warband detachment. I was going to take Vessels, and then because I haven't played anything since the last one, and I hadn't played Vessels in that, I was like, I don't know enough. I'm just going to take the closest thing to what it was. But yeah, it's good fun. I took a list with a couple of Demon Princes, Lord Invocatus, Slaughterbound, what did I get? A unit of 6 and 2 units of 3, 8-bound, a unit of Spawn, a unit of Goremongers, a unit of Jackals, 2 Hellbrutes, and 2 Forge Fiends.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it seems to be the body that a lot of the armies I'm seeing tend to have the Forge Fiends, the Hellbrutes, and then the rest is kind of to flavour, right? Like,
you can't. I mean, you can, but the Hellbrutes, the Forge Fiends being as effective as they are, getting D3, 3D3 shots, blast, rapid fire, reroll hits, etc. You'd just be daft not to for like 150 points. And one of the big problems that has always been there for World Eaters is cracking transports.
Yeah. So clearly Davey's not taking them because he was fed up of being a shooting army. So I'm imagining his list's quite different. So.
But I think the other bit being as well, like the issues of -1 damage, half damage, stuff like that really impacts them as well. So it helps mitigate that, and the Custodian Wardens, things with Feel No Pain. So being able to get them to activate that elsewhere. But yeah, no, it's a good fun list. Took it up there. My first opponent was a lad called Ben, who was at his first tournament, and he was playing Sisters.
Oh, nice.
So it's much more of a flavorful list than a hardcore competitive list.
Yeah.
And we had when I had a conversation with the judge, say, do you mind if we go into the lunch hour? Just because obviously it's his first competitive game, we're taking a bit more time to walk through stuff and give him some pointers, etc. And that. Nice. So that was quite nice. But yeah, it was a good fun game. It was the Army of Faith, so lots of miracles going off everywhere. But essentially, it was just there wasn't enough there to sort of move, block, and things like that. And I did manage to jump on his home objective turn 2, and then sort of go from there. But yeah, it ended up a nice. It was a good match. Ended up 88-56. I think this will be one of the themes through this is that I did notice that I think the one thing you do miss that you can obviously win games with World Eaters, they are good, etc. But they're just missing a couple of those extra points to have an extra scoring unit or two while still having the lethality.
Yeah.
And that means that either you can't push those scores when you need higher battle points, obviously for tournament rankings, or it means you can't quite eke out some of those wins that you might have been able to, being able to like score that piece, etc. And then after that, I played against Will with his World Eaters, and he took the Demon King detachment, which was pretty cool. he had 3 Forge Fiends, like all the Bloodletters, Flesh Hounds, etc. And sort of, I was interested to see how this goes. And because thinking about, he had a lot more scoring units than me, and it was on Search and Destroy as well. So it was like, okay, what's going to happen here? He ended up going first, and we sort of got into this sort of staging game. And then it all sort of blew up when he decided to go for it in his turn 2 and failed a 5-inch charge.
Oh, no.
Rerolled it, failed it again. And this was just a 3-man into one of my 3 men that I'd staged up. And it's like, okay, that's not too bad. So get to my turn. I come up with a couple of 3-mans towards his staged Blood Crushers with the... Lord of the Corn Lord on the Juggernaut as well.
Nice.
And then I also went, right, I'm going to go for it. He's got his on-foot Demon Prince on his expansion objective with the unit of 3 Bloodletters and Jackals. I'm putting my 6-man with a Slaughterbound into them. And then I proceed to fail a re-rollable 5-inch charge as well.
Oh,
and sit
no.
there with my dick in the breeze, yeah.
Oh, gosh.
But it's weird, like, because some of the big pointers that came out for me with this game was the dogs don't tend to do anything. The Flesh Hounds, they went up and down in the same place every single time because there was nowhere they could go or wanted to go that was just going to throw them away. So it didn't feel as important. Quite similar with the Bloodletters. Unless you've got something very weak and soft there, they turn up and they don't do anything.
Yeah.
He had the full unit of 6 Blood Crushers with the Juggernaut Lord in it. I charged it with 2 units of 3 8-bounds. With one of them, I think I took out 2 or 3 of them. Nice. And then he fought me back on my unit that hadn't fought. I -1 damage, and I failed the save, and he just killed one.
Oh, gosh.
And then they turned round and killed the rest of the Blood Crushers and wounded the Lord. So it's like, it feels quite glass cannon if you're not doing the charge and getting the impact mortals, getting the lance, etc.
Yeah.
Not going into the right units because they're only strength 5.
Yeah.
So when they get charged, they actually don't do a lot.
No.
And obviously 5-up save on the Invun now, etc. And you've got high enough strength in the 8-bound to sort of win them on 3s. But that was quite surprising. I think he put a load of shooting and Scarbrand into the 6-man with the Slaughterbound in it and left the Slaughterbound alive. Slaughterbound hit him back, done a couple of wounds, and then the Demon Prince of Wings that had the Berserker Glaive came in and just one-shot the Scarbrand with his damage 4.
Goodness me.
Yeah, so it felt more like, and I think it's a similar thing, like it felt like it could be fun, like the Demon King one, but it feels like you can't treat it like a normal World Eaters list where you can go and try and kill things. Because
it feels like a techie list, right? It's like a techie fancy list.
Yeah, because it was like...
What machine was that on?
That was on... give me a second, I'll tell you. It was on... Mission I, Hidden Supplies, Search and Destroy.
Yeah. And who went first?
He did.
Yeah.
And he was winning by 20 points the whole game. And then, because I'd managed to kill all of his stuff in the last turn, I think he had... did I leave him with anything? I might have left him... I think, he had a unit of Jackals left in his last turn. So then in my last turn going second, I was able to get on everything, get the first hold more and just push it over. I ended up winning 73-71. But very tight game.
Yeah.
Because we both sort of failed these little pieces. But just being able to pull it around, obviously going second helps a lot. But yeah, it did feel a lot more techie than you'd normally expect with World Eaters, and I just didn't care that he was spawning Bloodletters because they don't do anything.
It's cute, but they flip a point and then die, basically, if you're lucky.
Yeah. It's like, oh, great, you've just given me something that's easier to charge. That's absolutely
Especially
fine.
if you're playing Purge into it, I imagine. It's like, oh, look, just give me another kill. Cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
I'll
But
put
again,
Hellbrute into that.
Yeah. It was a close game, and but yeah, it was good fun overall. I think it was like, I think to take it at the end, I had to like do a 9-inch charge with a Hellbrute to clear the center to get like area denial and stuff like that. But my dice turned up when I needed them to make those charges, so it was quite cool.
Very cool.
Again, next game was against a lad called Jordan, normally a Sisters player, but also has Death Guard, so he was on that with the Virulent Vectorium. So, like, was it 12 Death Shrouds, 3 of the Bloat Drones with heavy launchers, 3 of the Mephitics, like a unit of Plague Marines with all the Fight First stuff in a Rhino, Poxwalkers, all sitting there. And this, let me tell you what this was on. So this was on. Sorry, I probably should have got this ready. This is on mission Terraform and Crucible of Battle. So he was definitely a bit more apprehensive with his deployment and didn't put anything on objectives with his infiltrating Poxwalkers.
That's a shame.
So he put one. Right? Yeah, he put one behind one of the middle ruins, and then the other one in his home objective, and one in the other corner of his deployment zone. And then I rolled first, and I went and terraformed every objective. And then every time he came out, I just kept going, and it just went very well. And it turns out the Forge Fiends love the Bloat Drones and the Thick Light Holders because they're all T10.
Yeah.
Sorry, T9. Sorry. So they really enjoy them. And my favourite bit was getting the Hellbrute into a Blight Holder that then bounced into a drone, and then he re-rolled a save to stop him from then bouncing into another drone and just going off like that.
The domino effect. Amazing.
Yeah, because I gave it the 6-inch piling consolidate, and it was like, I can touch everything in your army. Where he'd sort of had a bit of a car park. But then because that was there, he had to put so much effort into killing it that it meant that everything else just got to come up afterwards.
Amazing.
Again, like the Flying Demon Prince is good again, just went around, killed what he wanted to kill, went in, took a 3-man unit of Death Shroud with the fighty Lance character out on his own, and then went off and done a Bloat Drone, and then went off and done an entire unit of Poxwalkers by himself. So it's quite good having him for that. Again, I think that some of the missions were more in my favour than his as we pulled them. But I was surprised by the game. It's very similar to Death Shroud, and they've got the -1 damage.
Yeah.
With the 4 wounds and the 4 up, etc. They're very difficult, and you've definitely got to overcommit into them. But I think it could have been very different in the sense that I think I managed to force him to feel like he had to use CP in certain places, meaning that he only had the option to do the -1 damage a couple of times, and then I just sort of avoided where it would be worthwhile him using it. So that did help a lot.
A tally man for CP Gen then as well?
No.
Yeah.
No, he did not. I think that pushes the Death Guard a bit over, is having access to always use all their strats, etc.
Yeah.
But it was a really good fun game. All done in very good spirits. Like we both had some great dice, we both had some awful dice. But it was really good fun, and that one ended up 90-65 to me.
Very cool.
Which I was surprised with going into Death Guard with the World Eaters.
Because my expectation would be like all the contagion stuff and the fact that little bit more survival now with their increased toughness, that it would be a challenge. But you seem to kind of just got through that. Yeah,
I think it's where they've put the 8 bound up to strength 8 and obviously strength 10 on the charge. It's in like you've got 18 attacks going in with probably devastating wounds and sustained hits, etc. So you're hitting on 2s, wounded on. Well, he gave me the -1 to hit, so you're hitting on 3s, wounded on 3s, and just made quite a big difference. The characters are very good in it. I think again like that, the 4 damage Demon Prince. Obviously, every failed save is a dead Terminator. Is pretty nice.
Yes. So unless they've popped that strat, and to be honest, if you choke them on the CP, they're not going to be doing it. So it's perfect. Yeah.
So overall, it was really good. Ended up placing second. It was a strength of schedule piece. I think Votan player came first. But it was a really nice little setup, nice group of people. And it was just nice to get them out on the table, and it was actually really good fun to play with them, where I was a bit apprehensive by... obviously, you can't help but compare the points to the different models on the other codexes that have come out, like Death Guard, etc. And it was like, oh, I don't know how this is going to be, but yeah, it was a good fun event, and I'm glad to have got back out on the table.
And one thing we didn't touch on at the beginning, it's GW format traditionally, kind of
GW terrain,
over the
yeah.
States a lot of the time, right? So
Yeah.
it doesn't quite favour one extreme or the other as much, really. It's not like a stagey, would you say?
No, I'd say the big difference that I found with it is it's much easier to use monsters, vehicles, dreadnoughts, things like that, because you've got those open pieces of terrain that are line of sight
Much
blocking,
nicer.
but you can walk straight through.
Yeah.
And obviously a lot of them have the two, like the L made out of the two ruins in the home field, which has a gap that you can go through in between them up to, I think it's 90 mils or something.
Nice. Yeah. And all the the No Man's Land objectives generally are kind of open as well, aren't they? Which is different to over here.
Yeah, so some of them are a bit more open, but you can hold them. We were using layout 1, so you can hold them all from cover. And it depends. Like I think this shop, House Ruled, you couldn't hold the middle objective from the ruins on either side because it does just lip under it. But like there's a small little bit where you can hold your expansion objectives.
Nice.
It's not. People can come around and get you, but they can't shoot you from downtown. They've really got to come up, so then you can interact with them.
Just sounds a lot more like less safe is nice, because then you're actually having to play rather than just going, there's 5 stealthy scouting infiltrator people just there going, they're there for the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think like, and in that one as well, when I just put myself an objective, like, well, shoot me then, and then sticky it. So I think I had like 2 of them sticked for most of the game.
I was going to ask you if you use that strat a lot more because of the situation of the objectives.
Yeah.
That was the only only game I used it. Obviously, I made everyone I was playing aware that I had it, but that's the only time it actually came into play. And then just obviously kept going forward so that he couldn't get behind and take them back.
Yeah. Clever.
And how do you feel about all your characters? Because I know you got the 2 demon princes, one's winged, one's not, right? And then the slaughterbound.
So the slaughterbound, I think I got an over exaggerated example of him where when I used his best day ever, he popped off. Like he went into the Castigator in the Sisters game and killed it by himself. He just went in and one-shotted by himself
nicely,
with a load of death wounds, and then the guy failed the other 2 wounds that he had left. And he'd done that in a couple of instances, but I never got to actually bring someone back with him, which was a bit annoying. And then I had the Lord Invocatus as well, and I was going to attach him to one of the units if they were more horde-like and were going to block me out, so that I could just run through them with like the 8-bound to get what's behind. But I never faced anyone with that sort of setup, so I used him in Deep Strike on his own every game to pop down and either do actions or pop down, screen out 6-inch deep strikes from Death Guard, because he wasn't in affliction range, and like sort of moved the numbers with that. So he became like a reasonably expensive action monkey, but the smallest base that has deep strike in the list.
So you didn't take Khan, despite being in Berserker. Was that something you considered initially, or was it just like from the get go you were like, nah?
No, I don't like Berserkers in the new I never really liked them. I only ever used them as 5-mans for like a little bit of potential trading with scouts and stuff. But now you have to take a 10. Yeah. I don't see that it's worth, what is it, 360 points, Davey? 370 points?
265 for him and the Berserkers. Yeah, so it's like 250, 350.
Yeah. And I'm like,
it's a big commitment, right?
And like, he's like, Khan's awesome. Like he'll do stuff. But then, apart from that, you've got 2 eviscerators that have between them 8 attacks.
Yeah, I didn't roll all week.
So I don't like them in the least. I've not tried them. Yeah. It's just my thoughts on them, and I was like, for that amount of money, I get so much more. Yeah. So I just went for that, and then obviously the Demon Prince on foot, having access to that CP was good and very handy. Just being able to go, oh, actually, hang on a minute, I will roll that save, or being able to like have a -1 damage up and things like that was very, very handy. And having devastating wounds against anything when he charges was good. But yeah, he was good work. It's just sort of learning how to use him, I think. The Demon Prince with wings was brilliant. I don't think he'd done anything in the first game. He just stayed in flying around trying to get in position, then something else would kill what I was going to go towards.
Good problem to have, though, right?
Yeah, and then I used him more aggressively in the second 2 games, and he was good. But I started him on the board each game, where potentially I think what I would do is put him in deep strike to rapid ingress somewhere, and then be able to move in the next turn and get a
closer,
angle.
right?
Yeah. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed them. I did think about taking out the Slaughterbound and 3 of the 8 bounds to make it 3 units of 3 on their own, and then put in another Hellbrute and maybe another unit of Jackals and some Spawn to see if losing a little bit of lethality there and having a bit more scoring might work a little bit better.
Because did you find, because you didn't have so many kind of smaller units, did you ever get to the situation where you had to cycle a secondary because you couldn't do the thing and do the fighting you needed to do? Or was it
it was generally all right, but I think that's because I didn't draw secondaries that put me in that position.
Yeah.
Whereas there's definitely secondaries that I could have drawn that would have done that. I was just lucky that I got cleanse in the first turn, so okay, go and do cleanse, or just do it on one objective. So it was pretty good, and I think like the change to marked for death and recover and stuff like that make them so it's much more feasible. So you don't have to cycle off right away, which is quite good.
Recover's good now, actually.
And display of might, you're going to be doing that because your whole army's going to just be in the middle going, ha, there you go.
Yeah.
I've not filled a display of might yet.
Yeah, it's making me count my units a little bit more now, though. I'm like, can I squeeze in an extra little single cheap character just to give myself something just to tip it over the edge? I don't know. Might be overthinking it. Right, so now we've heard about Aarron's successes. Davey, surely you didn't have a success because you've lost all your practice games. You're going to the tournament. You're basically a bit of a joke to yourself at this point.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
you've got to prove yourself, right? So did you go out into the woods beforehand, do some training montage, punching some meat,
just taking
some skulls? Yeah.
It was definitely eating some meat.
Oh God!
Eating the meat, yes. I've been eating the meat.
Sure. Tenderizing. Right. So this was this at War Games Workshop in Milton Keynes?
Yeah. So my local club,
Nice.
War Games Workshop in Milton Keynes. I co-run the events, but I said I'm not running this one because it's my birthday. So I'm playing to
happy
win.
birthday!
It's tomorrow. My birthday.
Yeah.
Oh, happy
That
birthday.
doesn't count then.
Yeah, it's a big one, right? It's 50, right?
No, I'm not Aarron.
Yes.
I know you look older, but he's not.
But yeah. So yeah, no. I've loved this list. I've been playing it. Me and Tom cooked it up. Well, I say Tom cooked it up. Tom found the list and then said, "Hey, try this," and I was like, "Okay." And as soon as I read it, I was like, "This is a cool list." So it's Khan the Betrayer with 10 Khorne Berserkers in a Rhino. We've got, and then this is dead easy. It's 3 Chaos Spawn, or World Eaters Chaos Spawn.
Yep.
3 times 3 8-bound, 3 times 3 Forge Fiends, 3 times 3 Hellbrutes, Goremongers and Jackals. Job done. Full stop.
Which detachment's it in?
It's in Berserker Warband.
Cool. Very different list, which I'm excited to see.
So different, and we're seeing that with this detachment. I think you very rarely see two lists that are the same, which is really cool. So yeah, I love the list. I have had to fork out a bit of cash to finish it. So
That must have been really hard for you because your northern genes make you just not want to spend any money.
well, you know what? I could have saved a bit of cash, couldn't I? So instead of buying Hellbrutes at 40 quid with 10% discount from a local game store, I bought them all, and then John the day after went, "Oh, you could have just got them in the magazine. They were 20 quid each."
I didn't know. You posted saying, "Look what I've bought," and I went, "I hope you bought them in the magazine because they're expensive."
They're really fucking.
Were they out in the magazine though?
They've been out. They've long gone, unfortunately. Now over here, it's done.
I would have had to find 6 magazines, but
Yeah.
So it's fine. Everything's fine. It's fine. But no, so that's the list. It's really good. I love it. We'll talk about it more after I do the event. So talk about the event. I had 3 games at an RTT, as I say. First game was against a lad called Toby with his Chaos Knights. It was Chaos Knights with Demon Allies. So funnily enough, he had Bloodletters and the Juggernaut.
Flesh Hounds?
No, the Juggernaut.
Oh no, Blood Crushers.
Blood Crushers. And then 2. Right, what's the really tall knights?
Oh, what? Oh, not the ones that, not
Atropos.
the ones in
The one that's
the
actually-
forge.
So there's 2. There's Atropos and
Yeah.
Gun. I don't know.
It's the one that's got a flame or a chainsaw, basically.
Yeah, one's got a flame and a chainsaw. The other one's got the big stick.
You mean the Lancer?
Yes.
They're the same style as a Lancer.
Yeah. So you had one of those each. By the way, that one with the flamer is fucking shit. Its
awful.
flame is 2d6, right? So he rolled a 5 when he eventually got to shoot it. Strength, I don't know, like 7 or something. -1/2 damage.
They really don't want people to use those. They used to be cooked in 8th edition. I had one. I sold it in 9th when they got worse.
Yeah, I mean, that was bad, that. It was actually not bad in combat, though. But anyway, so yeah, it was hidden supplies and search and destroy. So funny what Aaron was saying about hidden supplies, right? If you go second on hidden supplies, I think it's so favoured because all you need to do is your opponent moves onto it. Your opponent moves onto it. Then you just kill them so they don't score primary. And you do that 4 turns until the end of the game where you jump on it. And it's fine. Let's do that. And then you say you jump on their objective, say they move on, then you charge onto it. You're like, my objective now. And then they shoot you, you just stick in the objective. It's cheating. Yeah. So that hidden supplies, I feel like, is going to be a bit of a naughty mission. I think I won't be surprised if it gets kicked out of events, but we'll see. Anyway, so against this, I was unsure how the new book does against big knights. So my thinking was essentially, he's got a few little knights, he's got some big knights, he's got the demons. Can't let the demons get a charge on me. I don't want them to hit me. Don't want the big knights to hit me. So I need to have a go turn. So I'm literally like, Super Saiyan, like, and then Lucian all at once is the plan. So I deployed first, and interestingly, he put everything on the table, no demons in reserve, which I was like, that's interesting. I put Hellbrute and Forge Fiend in reserve, which is the typical, I suppose, my standard. 1 Hellbrute, 1 Forge Fiend in reserve.
Because you can't hide it all, right?
No, you can't, actually. You can't. And the fire lines you can get with the Forge Fiend are so much better when you come in from reserves. And then a Hellbrute really loves coming 9 inches away. So, yeah, that's kind of where I was at with that. What went well in this game? So, Forge Fiends into War Dogs. That's pretty good. There was a moment. This was a funny moment. So I moved my 8-bound up into the mid-table, and I put them between 2 War Dogs. And I'm like, okay, I can charge one of these War Dogs. 2 Forge Fiends outside of 18 kill 1. No rerolls, just dead. Then the other one kills the other one within 18 inches. And I'm like, fucking hell, this is dirty.
It's going to be even dirtier soon because they're going to be T9.
Oh, well, we were playing these as T9.
Oh, you were? Okay, right.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh, maybe we shouldn't have been.
New rules aren't out yet, are they?
Yeah. I asked him about it, and he said, yeah, T9. I was like, well, okay.
Because they are now. They will be going forwards, but yeah.
All right, fair enough. Or did we do it? We might have been. I might have been rolling on 4s, actually. I can't remember now. But anyway, maybe I was thinking about it afterwards. It was 3s. Yeah. But anyway, so it was fine. And then Khan and his mates killed the big knight after 2 turns of punching it. The unit was gone, but Khan was alive, just punching it to death. I took the other one down in turn 5. So I was trying to ignore them, kill all the little bits first, then just leave the 2 biggies. So I did that. He had the 2 left. Khan killed 1, and then in turn 5, my entire army kind of collided onto the other one. But it was a bit of everyone versus the knight. So we grenade. I didn't even charge it in the end. I just shot it and grenaded it, and it went down. So
you must love grenade because you've not had grenade until this army, right?
As a Tyranid player, man, I'm just like grenade. Jackals have it, so grenade.
And Goremongers.
And Goremongers, yeah, which we'll talk about in a minute.
How did Khan and the Berserkers take that? That's all on 5s with no way of getting benefits. So I said, right, so you've done lethals.
And Khan's rerolling his 1s to wound.
Yeah.
So Khan on the charge gets obviously he's got his 8 attacks, so he goes to 9, and then he has sustained and lethals. So sustained and lethals, and then it just gets through 3 damage each. I think I'd done a bit of damage maybe with a Forge Fiend prior, but broadly speaking, it was them. So that was fine. And then the other thing was good. 37 out of 40 on secondaries was positive. One of the things I was concerned about, like Aarron said, is the ability to score, but 37 out of 40, dead happy with that. The only thing I missed was marks for death on turn 1, and no prisoners. I only got 2 points because he didn't have any models left. So, and then I think coming out of it, like focusing on the wide objectives first was really strong. Getting into defensive positions because this is UKTC terrain. This is the old maps with the new missions on. Think of it like that. Yeah. So the Forge Fiends can rip to bits everything in the middle, while everything else takes the corners, and then nice. What didn't go well, I wasted my Goremongers in this turn. I realised how good they were, but I kind of just threw them in to try and move block, and they died, and it felt like a waste. They should have loads of potential, right? Because they've got a really good move, good combat profiles into certain things, the ability to get dev wounds, and the grenade keywords. So I think like they have really good turn 1 potential, and probably one of the best skirmishing units out there if we use them in the right way. So the score at the end was 92-32, so it was a really good win. So I was quite happy with that. The lessons I learned here: feeling better about Knights matchups all of a sudden, so that was good, especially if they are T9. And then Hidden Supplies, really tough game if you go first. I think there's going to have to be some thoughts on how do you win that matchup how do you win that mission if you go first. Maybe you just don't stand on an objective turn 1 and wait for them to do it, and then you do it back to them. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, you have to do maybe a null turn 1, but then you run the risk of not scoring anything.
Yeah,
that's the problem, is that you can both stand off and never touch it until the end.
And
then I think maybe it should just have to be very, very aggressive.
Yeah,
I think this is it, and I think that's what this new pack is going. We're going to see a lot of. We'll see it talk about in the last game that I'd played because it was very much that. So my round 2 comes round, and it's Ben Piddington. He's local guy. We call him Salty Ben. He takes it in good. He takes it in good nature. He's a good guy, and he's just painted Fulgrim. So he's brought Emperor's Children, Imperialist Blades with Fulgrim, tons of Noise Marines. The possessed guy.
They decided to turn up with 1,600 points of an army.
Well, this is what he said actually after he played the first game. Flawless Blades, that's it, yeah.
Yeah. 3 attacks, so good.
Yeah, they were shit. And Ben kind of clocked this, I think, after his first game. He's like, well, we're going to see how this goes. So he deploys. We're on Terraform and Sweeping Engagement. So quite close. It's quite... He could get to me turn 1 if he really wanted to. So my thinking... Ben's a good player. His guns are very good into me, so the Noise Marines are very good into me. The plan is to really just have Fight on Death up all the time and sustained, so I can kill as much as possible. I'm going to try and kill everything else except Fulgrim, and then if I kill Fulgrim, that's nice, but I'm going to try and distract him somewhere else. Lots of Forge Fiends. Like, Forge Fiends have a great time into this army, so I was really keen on that. So his choices, I'm wanting to make his choices either charge me or stand in the middle and get shot by Forge Fiends. That's kind of how I was trying to build it. I wanted to have 2 CP open at all times for an interrupt as well in case he had multiple charges. So for me, it's likely to be a turn 2 stage and then charge, but we're going to see what happens. I really think because he's faster than me, I'm going to be taking the punch. So it's about being in really good defensive positions.
Mm-hmm.
So I deploy first, put 2 Hellbrutes in reserves because I wanted them to be whenever I needed them. I didn't want to have 2 in the middle and then them not be able to get around the big L in the middle. And I left all Forge Fiends on the table because I wanted to outrange his shooting. Yes, the Noise Marines are amazing, but they're 18-inch range. So, sure, I'll just shoot you from far away. And boy, did I. So what went well? Well, turn 1 went well. Bring it down. And Ben, I'm a nice guy. I'm like, hey, move this unit in. I'm going to shoot. I can move 10 and shoot that unit. And after a while, I was like, sod this. He's had to move 4 units. So I think he was just a bit like perplexed as to how he was going to win the game. And his Demon Prince, was shootable. So 2 Forge Fiends come out, shot the Demon Prince outside of 18, put him on 3 wounds. Then the Goremongers have a bit of that. Blew him to bits. Killed the Demon Prince
Go
turn
along,
one.
Dad.
Aarron bring it down. So that was nice.
Oof.
Ben was quite clever though, because I would have charged him instead of using. Because I think would I have got the wounds through? Probably not. But I was thinking, can I hold this Demon Prince up? Maybe, I don't know. But with Lance and the CP on -1 AP, I thought, well, maybe I charge him. But he put Fulgrim into fight first, so he could have interrupted with Fulgrim. He could have heroic with Fulgrim and done it. So decided to grenade him, which was the right decision, having played it. So that was good. Emperor's Children really struggle with mechs, so the Hellbrutes just always got multiple activations. Only 2 because they didn't have that many units. It wasn't like he was swarming me. It was like lots of like key units. So the Hellbrutes were pretty good here.
One of them actually didn't have Fight on Death, did it either?
He does. I think it does, but it's 2 CP.
Is it the 2 CP one?
Maybe
it's the Blades Master one. Yeah, that's 2. That's really expensive, and they don't really have a way of generating it easily.
No, they don't. No. So they've got a lot of fight first. So I had to play around that. That was kind of scary. So having the 2 CP open, he put 2 fight first units in to me at the same time, but I had 2 CP, so I just interrupted and sorted them out. Yes, so he had fewer assets than I did, which left a lot of space. So the Hellbrute actually came down in his deployment zone, punched a Rhino on his home objective, and then recovered assets. So that was good. So yeah, I mean, Hellbrutes, you don't have to get multiple activations. Sometimes they can just score you all the points. What didn't go well, I had a brain fart and forgot about to draw secondaries turn 2, so that was stupid. So I only scored 29 out of 40 on my secondaries. Primary was 44 out of 50, so I was quite happy with that.
Hey, you didn't draw secondaries?
I so carried away.
I got the bloodlust. I was like, how do I punch all this stuff? And then
when did you realise that though?
At the end of the turn. No, after my movement phase.
Did you not just draw them and see what they are then?
No, I did. I just couldn't score it. I drew 2. One of them was called the Horde, so I recycled that one and then spent a CP to get another one. So I went through 4 secondaries that I couldn't do. So I was like, oh well, never mind.
Happens.
It happens. And as I thought, well, I'm just going to punch his army to death, so hopefully I can just see it through it.
That's the primary.
Lessons I learned from this game, though, Terraform is much... Okay, it's more annoying now because you have to score at the end of every turn. And that, I think, to start with, is going to be teething problems, and we'll get used to it and it'll be fine. But it's really annoying. I think if you go first...
turns, right?
Say again?
You score it in both turns, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. So
Which confused the crap at me at first.
I didn't realise that. We were only scoring it once on your own turn. Did not realise
your turn and your opponent, whoever has it gets a point. Yeah. So what's interesting about that is if you go first, you get on and do what Aarron did and terraform all the objectives. Your opponent has to not only clear you off, but put another unit on there to stop you terraforming and getting that points. So
they have terraform in return, don't they? That's terraform
so actually going first is the big advantage in that mission. I mean, it was in the previous version as well, but it's good to know.
But at least it can be undone now, whilst before it was like, you've done it, cool, thanks.
It's just, you have to use lots of assets to do it. That's the problem.
Yeah, I know that you can undo it. I don't know how good that is that you can undo it. Because then you're feeding stuff in that they just go, I'll just kill that, thanks.
Yeah.
Those assets could be shooting or killing the things, and then you just hold it. Yeah.
Turn 1, spawn, go on to middle objective. Terraform. Finishes at the end of the turn, you score a point. Your opponent shoots him off, you stick it, and keep scoring terraform.
Yeah.
Cool. Cheers.
Great.
Another thing, one of my losses was into Emperor's Children prior to the event. So I've played them twice. I feel like it's actually a close game, but I do think it's favoured to World Eaters because of the fight on death.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I've not played into 3 winged demon princes, to be fair, but I feel I wouldn't be terrified of the matchup. Let's call it that. Might be wrong. But fight on death is a scam. Sometimes I've played 2. In my practice games, I played the Space Wolves guy with loads of Wolfen, and the fight on death was brutal for his army as well. So I feel like in the melee matchups, you've always got you're not Someone else might have better melee units, but you're not going to be caught out because if you fight on death and then have sustained up or then lethal.
Yeah, I guess like maybe you got a bit of what I got with the Slaughterbound, where the dice go in your favor and make it stand out. But if you've got 3-man units of 8-bound,
Yeah.
you're on average fighting with one person, sometimes two.
So okay, so let's say blade guard, 3 blade guard going to 3 8-bound, right? 50% of them, and the blade guard kill them all. 50% of them will fight on death. So say 1 hits on 2s, strength 8, so wounds on 2s, and then they're on a 4 pinball. So
4
you've got
pinball and reroll their ones. That's the
right,
best
well,
they can get.
maybe they're rerolling the ones to hit John.
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to say. It's like worst case scenario, right?
Worst case scenario. So then all of a sudden you've killed a couple of them, and that's what matters, right? As long as you're taking something with you.
Yeah.
Because actually you look at the Hell Brutes and Forge Fiends, criminally undercosted. You do, my list with the Spawn as well has a lot of stuff that you can.
I think it's the threat of it, isn't it, as well? I think, like you say, because I think I had a Demon Prince fight on death and just like wiped the unit in return and stuff like that. And like you say, with the Hellbrute, it's like you can't interact always how you want to without taking that risk of going, yeah, actually, we've won for 1'd each other, and it's to my benefit because he'd already done something.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much activations. Can't, right? Dies, fights on death on a 4-up, kills something, then gets back up on a 2-up, and then goes kills something else, and maybe fights on death again. He's just brutal. Like, he's so good.
Yeah, I was tempted to try running him around on his own.
I think it's viable, man. I do think it's definitely viable. He's so good value at 85 points as well, man.
Yeah.
The one thing though that this game kind of showed, and some of my practice games have showed, because the game against the Space Wolves player, I had fight on death 4 out of 5 turns. If I had it 5 out of 5 turns, I would have won the game. That's what my opponent suggested. So having Favoured of Khorne would be amazing. The enhancement, which lets you reroll 2 dice, I believe, that would be a massive quality increase for this list. But there's just no one I want to. Nothing I want to take
cut from it, right?
It's really tough.
Like you say, it's also you can only put it on Khan, can't you?
Like, I can't put it on Khan.
Actually, you'd have to get someone else, wouldn't you? Yeah.
So I'd need to put
character. Yeah.
I'd need to have a Slaughterbound.
Yeah.
Could it go on a Demon Prince?
So, well, I was going to say this at the end, but it's good, fine to say it now, right? So, Demon Princes are amazing. I would love to have one for the CP economy. The amount of times I've wanted 1 extra CP, or I've accidentally overwatched instead of sticking an objective, which I did in my 3rd game, which is really annoying. Yeah, it would be amazing to have that extra CP. But if I spend 200 points on that, I have to drop 2 units from the list. And it's
but you do get 2 units back. Yeah, they're just you'll drop 2. You say you drop a Forge Fiend and a Hellbrute, you're still going to get 2 units back, but they're different jobs.
Yeah, it would be. I think I could get Jackals then, and no, because if I wanted Favoured of Khorne, then it would be 220 for the Demon Prince, which is it's a whole lot of points. That
Is he 20? Is it 20 for favoured? Yeah.
Yeah, but it's good. You get to reroll. It's not like the old one. You get to reroll it every turn, 2 dice. So, so I'm trying to. What I'm trying to do is essentially turn 1, not use any CP, and then that gets me going a bit more.
Yeah.
And then, so that's one thing would be lovely to have. I'm thinking there's maybe a world where I take out 3 8-bound and put in a Slaughterbound with the enhancement. But then the Slaughterbound with the enhancement, you want it on something that's going to survive the game. And the interesting thing about Slaughterbound, you want to throw him in there, right?
Yeah.
So, and I look at it, I go 6 attacks. I know he goes super. I know he has like best day ever, but 6 attacks at damage 2.
Yeah.
It's all right.
It's an 8-bound on the charge in this.
Kill some Space Marines, basically, right? If you're lucky.
So I'm not sure about him.
It's not amazing because what is he? He's 90 plus 15 for favoured, so it'd be 105 for that. And to use him, he's not surviving out past the first couple of turns.
No. Same with normal 8-bound, right? They don't survive. 160 points is a lot. So that's one of the units that is peak expensive in this book. But you use them because they actually fulfill a role, which is cool. But if I'm thinking about how do I get the best value, that's probably where I'm looking for it. Maybe one unit of those guys coming out. And the third game was against Ant, who's another member of the Shadow Council of the War Games Workshop. So Ant Lown. And he had two very good games on. He's Ruby K Phalanx. So Ruby K Phalanx is all about T-Sun boys and the Sandy boys, and they can basically go, hey, my Warp Flame is at OC2, AP4.
Oh,
My Storm Bolters on my Terminators are AP4 with 40 shots and lethals rerolling. It's brutal. In the game, he was on the table next to me in round 2, and he bodied a repulsor with the unit. And I'm like, oh god. So basically, what they're really good at is killing one unit really well.
Yeah.
My army's, for want of a better word, it's kind of MSU, right? And I was like, okay, well, you kill one thing real good. I think I can get away with that. It was supply drop and Crucible of Battle. So the few things converge here to dictate my strategy. So supply drop and Crucible of Battle. The new supply drop, you have to be on the center objective, right? You have to, at the end of the game. It's not the side, it's the center. I don't know this army, so I'm kind of just going, well, it's just Marines and hopefully I kill him. He has a better, he gets +1 armor against 1 damage attacks.
weaponry,
Yeah. What do World Eaters not have? Except for the Berserkers, 1 damage attacks, right? So I was like, okay, I should be fine with that. He's got Magnus in there. He's got 25 Terminators.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like it's bad news. As I found out, it's not.
Were they just pocket sand?
Magnus is in there. So Magnus, I don't know what Magnus does now. He seems pretty scary. Everyone's been telling me how bad he is, how good he is. And so it feels like this game really set up with his shooting threat and my melee threat. If I charge him, he's dead. If he shoots me, I'm dead. So I just need to make it a charging game. I need to get in there. The AP4 is scary, and my shit 5-up invulns are not gonna save me. So Ant deploy first. A lot of his army was in Deep Strike, so he had a 10 man of Terminators and 5 man of Terminators in Deep Strike. So he started with a 10 man, 2 Rubric Squads, Iron Man, Magnus, and the two units of the 2 new robots on the table.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a redeploy, so he can totally take the piss about where he puts stuff. So I'm like, okay, I'll try and figure it out. I started 2 Hellbrutes on the board, which hindsight, I wish I started 1 on the board and 2 in reserve, but as it happens, I deployed okay, so it kind of didn't matter.
Is that going for you as well?
This is...
Yeah. You started to break up there, Davey.
Oh, can you not hear me?
That little bit again. So when you said about
the
Hell Brutes and the deployment was fine, it then went after that.
All right, so a few things thinking about. I know that I need to charge it. I know that I can't let him shoot me. I know that half his army's in Deep Strike, and I want to block that from coming in and just deleting things off the board. So I was like, okay, I need turn 1 players here. And it's on Crucible of Battle, so we're fairly close together. I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna try and rush him and go for it and start the fight early, because he can't trade. If I kill a unit and he kills a unit, I'm up. He can't play that game. So turn 1, I went first. So again, I can't let him survive the game because he just stands on the middle, scores 15 points. So kill the infiltrating robots with Spawn, a Forge Fiend, and some Goremongers, and they're kind of on the middle objective. The only thing behind them is 10 Terminators and Magnus. But I've also moved Spawn onto another objective, so he has to do something about those being there unless I score primary. So he then jumps across to deal with those. Magnus goes after the Spawn, but also points at a Forge Fiend and blows it up. And the Terminators come out and kill what's on the middle objective. But then the rest of my army just goes in and cleans up. So Magnus dies turn 2. To your boy Khan, I think it was. Yeah, it was Khan, yeah. So Khan goes in and kills him. We grenaded him, we shot him with pistols, we Forge Fiended him as well. So we got a few things away to get it over the line, but Khan bops him on the head. and then looks at Aarron behind him and points a finger and says, "You're next, pal." And then the 10 Terminators, man, just a Hellbrute runs out, batters them. So it was a Hellbrute and 3 8-bound. Jump out, kill the 10 Terminators with a Sorcerer.
Yeah.
So and this is where it comes to life for me. When you're against armies with fewer unit counts, you can really pair units up to combo the 8-bound while they are 160 points. They're not the most efficient things compared to
50.
the army. When you stick them next to a Hellbrute, it hits on 2s, man.
Yeah.
So that, and then you've got sustained, and then it's just messing on.
But I don't know if you found this as well. Like with some units, like some obviously vehicles, it works great for. But like those Terminators, where if there's 4 or 5 of them left, they won't kill it in return. Like you're able to launch it in, and then they hit it to let you hit it back again, and like then wipe the rest of the unit or absolutely decimate them.
Yeah, people don't see it coming. They don't. So it'll be on the table, and it looks like a box dread, and your opponent's like, "I'm just going to put this unit here." I'm probably like, you don't say, "Hey, do you know you're in the threat range?" But they're probably thinking, "It can't hurt me." But it just runs in 9 attacks with the fist on the charge, or the Scourge if you're going into Marines or whatever. You can spend the CP for extra AP to be AP2 damage 2.
Was that 13 attacks, isn't it?
13 attacks, yeah.
Oh.
And then it gets to do that twice, so it's essentially 26 attacks or 18 punch attacks. So I've seen it body 10-man Wolfen units, it bodied the 10-man Terminators here. The 8-bound did help, to be fair. The 8-bound didn't, weren't slouches. But yeah, I mean, when the Hellbrute kicks on, it kicks on. I've very rarely had it where during a game, the 360 points of Hellbrutes has not killed well more than 360 points.
Yeah.
And
what do you reckon to the loadout for him after using them?
Good question. So I think, I know people say about the hammer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like hitting on 4s.
Yeah, same.
I don't like it. I just don't like it. I do that enough with Spawn and the Forge Fiends I don't mind because they have to re-roll it. If you're hitting on 4s and you need to kill something, it might not. And it's D6 plus 1 damage. Like, the amount of times you roll a 2 and just go, wish I took the fist.
Yeah. I'm very much on board for all of them should be Scourge and Fist now. Yeah,
me too. And especially in this detachment, because you get the +2, you play +1 attack on the charge anyway, +2 strength. So all of a sudden your high strength thing doesn't feel that strong. Your high strength hammer. So that was good. That was and that was essentially the game. So turn 3, I've tabled everything but 2 units of Rubric Marines and Aarron. So then the other 10 comes down, and then the other Forge Fiend comes and batters them that are rapid ingress behind them. And then he goes and kills the thing on his own objective. And it's just, the Hellbrutes just did amazing. But the Forge Fiends also, I had 1 Forge Fiend kill 8 Terminators in a 1-hit activation. He rolled shit, to be fair, but...
Do you think it's different? Yeah, sorry, I think I'm about to say the same as you, Scrivo.
If he'd put more on the table from the get-go, because he's got the range, so if he hasn't given you the opportunity to charge and then move, block him, been able to drop in, do you think he would have been able to just shoot you a lot easier? And just
I think he wanted to bugger me, right? If I did the normal thing I did in the other games, where I just went, I'm going to hide and be KG and wait for the right moment, he would have had a better game because he could have dropped in,
right,
shot something that he wanted to target. But I had to be very careful about how I screened out. And I wanted to take 3/4 of the table in units so that he had to come down. I mean, the Terminators came down not even on an objective because they couldn't.
Yeah.
They're basically in front of his deployment zone. And then he shot what was on the middle objective. But then the Forge Fiend, which was hidden around the corner, waiting for something to come out, just went, "Oh, hello.
Oh, yeah.
See you later."
Yeah, I think I did a similar one with the Death Guard because he put all 12 of his Death Shroud in Deep Strike, which meant I was able to charge straight into his lines. I had nothing to worry about offensively in that sense. I think he ended up Deep Striking a unit of 6 to get behind enemy lines and didn't charge my home objective with the Jackals because I rapid ingressed a Hellbrute.
Yeah.
And said, if you charge them, I'm going to charge into you, and you're only going to hit me with one guy. So
Perfect.
This is it. There's a lot of micro with the Hellbrute as well, because if you do charge, you've got to make sure only one guy can fight, or you've got to make sure like where they can't pull someone so that they don't have to hit the Hellbrute back as well. That's another thing which I found. If you make it so they're basing enough people, I guess, or they can consolidate into the rest of the unit, then because he will kill a lot of them, but then it's whether or not you can then get into something afterwards.
yeah, I think that 6-inch pile in and consolidate is brilliant if you're going to do a go turn with them.
Yeah. So I never used it once this week on Sunday.
So it's so much fun.
I know it is. It's so good. But I just never had the chance. I always wanted to be doing damage, but I think it's because I played lots of armies that didn't have many units. So the Emperor's Children didn't have many units. The T-Sons didn't have. I think it was like 9, and then the Knights obviously don't have many. So that was interesting. Combo of Hellbrutes and 8-bound was really good. The profile. So T-Sons are great. I'm sure I'm overreacting here when I've had a good game into them.
Yeah.
But man, like those Terminators, we cleaned them up. I mean, the profiles. It was a really bad matchup for him. The profiles were just so strong. And then secondaries was also good here, but that's because I tabled him turn 3. So, but even though you can table someone turn 3, you still can't score 50 on primary on supply drop. So that's annoying. Fucking supply drop, man. And then the other thing I did do very well was I used the CP to Overwatch instead of sticking objective. So what I would say is if you're playing against a shooting army, definitely keep that CP rather than Overwatch. Maybe the Overwatch is better in a melee game.
Yeah.
Because if he kills you on the point and you're holding the point, he's not going to get there, right? Because he's probably staying back as a shooting unit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So and then my overall learnings for the tournament, same as Aarron really. Hundreds are really hard to come by if you're playing World Eaters because your primary game is okay. It's pretty good. I mean, my list, because I've got loads of units, is okay. But the secondaries are sometimes a little bit harder to come by. But what I would say is you can get real close if you're not getting 100. You still get real close.
Yeah.
And obviously, Forge Fiends are just incredible, but they are high value to the opponent and they die really easy. I think I'm not using them quite well enough just yet in terms of when to push them out. Because you do sometimes go, I'm within 18 inches, and then you start drooling and get excited, and then it comes out, kills like the 5-man scout squad, and then they get lanced in the head. So yeah, and that was the event. It was really good. I got first place. I got a little trophy,
awesome.
And some store credit, which was wonderful.
Nice. So if things like the Forge Fiends went up in the next slate, do you think you'd still take the 3, or do you think you'd have to kind of recalibrate around them and kind of go to 2?
What if you think about deployment? I have 1 each side, and then I put 1 in reserve generally, because 1 each side means that all the angles, the best angles are covered, and then the other one can come in where your opponent doesn't want it to, and blow something to pieces within 18 inches. Because of that 18-inch rule, like they're so good at coming in from reserve. You might even put 2 in strat reserve. I don't know. It depends on the maps, especially GW maps because they're a little bit different. But on UKTC, there's generally a rhythm to all the maps. So that's what I was thinking.
I think, and this is why I don't tend to take 3 of everything like this when it seems a bit too good. Like, they're definitely going to go up in points, I would imagine. But then I guess the caveat is, what, if anything else, comes down in points, and how does that balance off? I do think you can do it, like you say, with the 2, and probably potentially have them just both in strat reserve, popping in, to get the angles you want. But I think the list will still work as you want it without them, and it might give you that extra scoring piece, etc.
Yeah. If they went up 20 points, I'd rather drop a unit of 8-bound and have 100 points left. I think they'll go up more than. I mean, it would be rough if they went up 30 points, but even then, still, you just drop a unit of 8-bound and stick in something else.
because you were talking about getting a character in to give yourself the reroll on your blessings. You could even, if you've got that fewer points, I don't know, I can't remember exactly the points, but for like a Master of Executioners, it's just a cheap little foot dude, right?
Yeah,
So
it'd be
cheap enough that
75.
you just literally bung him on your home objective with it to keep him safe. That's an option, right?
Yeah, me and Aaron spoke about that actually. I think is there a world for Mo just with his walking stick, using his axe as a walking stick, like moving around and doing action? Slow mo, yeah.
Just throwing people out of the home objective one by one.
That's maybe it, man. But I don't think. I think the idea of him coming in from reserves and just going and killing a character, I think it's also pretty kind of cool. But me and Aaron spitballed it for a bit. We decided it's probably not the right thing. But I think a Slaughterbound on his own would be cool because then at least you get the favored, and then late game you try and run him onto an objective or something.
Yeah. I think you definitely still have the awkwardness of it's a reasonably small unit list that you want to take from, and the points are awkward.
Yeah,
you do like mental gymnastics trying to get to 2,000 points and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it'd be nice if they had like a Pyrovore, something like that. So a Pyrovore's 40 points in Turnip, and it's a fine unit and it does a thing.
Yeah, the amount of times you do stuff and you're like, I can do this, you're left with 50 or 40 points. It's just like, I can't do that.
Just a juggernaut on its own. That's what you want.
I mean, sure.
I'd love it. That's literally my dream, is that they do loads of juggernaut themed things. So,
but yeah, I've thought about what I would change and stuff. And as I mentioned before, like having a Demon Prince would be great. Having a character to wear that Favourite of Khorne would be great. But it's, again, as Aaron says, the points are really awkward. I don't really want another unit of Jackals.
You don't want to paint all that skin, do you?
No, I realised actually the day before the tournament I hadn't painted my Goremongers, so Liam lent me them. So, I was rush painting 3 Hellbrutes and a 4-train, so I was like, I'm not rushing. Like the night before, I'm like, I am not painting 8 Goremongers today. Like that is not happening.
They're not a quick unit to paint. I got them when they first got released, and they're half painted because I got bored of painting flesh. Not because it wasn't fun, but just because it is a grind, and you can't just rush it.
No, you want
for mine. I just I painted the skin. What's the light grey?
Ashen? No, not Ashen. Dawnstone?
Yeah, painted them Dawnstone, and then just used several different contrasts. Like, I think I used like a Wildwood one. I used Gillen's Flesh. Used a different one as well, just to get some different tones to make it quicker. Because I'm not doing that on them.
Yeah, I'm not here. It's took me a long time to realise that I'm never going to win Best Painted. And I'm never going to put the effort in to get there.
Your GSC's been looking pretty good, the stuff that you painted up for Final Day.
Yeah, the cars look good, I have to say.
The
cars look good. But I just want a video for that. But, Final Day, man. Oh, I tell you what, the juxtaposition of playing Final Day for 4 months and then World Eaters is wild.
Just tar pits of bodies, and then suddenly, I've got 25 models. Cool.
Yeah. But this Nid detachment is calling me. It's talking in my ear. But I think in terms of next things to do, like Glasshammer's not this weekend, the weekend after. Yeah. I think I'll be taking this.
Mm-hmm.
I think it looks pretty good. Sam Dickinson's there, another World Eater player who's very good. So I'm keen to see what his take on it. He won a GT recently at the East Midlands Slam. And he had a 20 man of Berserkers and a 10 man of Berserkers. And that sounds bananas.
Yeah.
Not my vibe.
On WTC as well, so you've got some really good staging points on those maps.
Yeah, I need to look at it a bit deeper. Cool. I need to look at it a bit deeper to see if my Hellbrutes are going to work on that. And I know someone said it's less shooty than UKTC. I need to properly look.
They've got half ruins that are kind of half GW, if that makes sense, is the best way to describe it.
Okay.
So they're not completely open, but you can get them through. But it's just a bit more effort.
Yeah. Well, little spinny round bases, fly through gaps. Let's go.
Exactly. Right. We haven't really had many chats in the chat. I think everyone's just too busy listening to you guys because it was obviously rapturous. So unless there's anything else you guys want to kind of talk about, I guess we could kind of wrap this now, because there's no point just sitting around just talking too much about what we're going to do next, because we're going around in circles, I guess. And I've probably got to use this time wisely to maybe paint a flipping unit.
Yeah. Well, did you know World Eaters for the weekend, their win rate was fifth? It was number 5. They were the 5th best army for win rate.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I remember rightly, I watched Stat Check. Go and watch Stat Check,
cool.
guys. After this, it's really good.
Excellent.
And yeah, so that's pretty good. And Tyranids were number 4. So that's cool.
Is this the first weekend that's got the new mission pack?
I believe
So it's a lot of figuring it out. So that's cool. It's always exciting.
Yeah.
And I like it when it shakes things up, because there's nothing worse than going, oh, it's Ynnari still, guys, because that would have been boring as heck, right?
Well, I don't think we want to see as much Ynnari, thank God. Because I think that's, again, if you think about all the armies that are going to be good, like Aarron showed you can push the poo in of Death Guard. T-Suns are going to be good, but actually T-Suns are great when everything's going their way. And this is just
And
my
very cerebral
generalization.
with how you position it. You can't just put them down and go, that'll work.
Yeah, exactly. They want to play the game. They want to play solitaire and kill you. But if you're rushing them, then it's a different
If you're playing
story.
snakes and ladders, they're fucked.
Yeah, sure.
Playing a different game, man.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm excited about Glasshammer next week.
Excellent, cool. So yeah, obviously, guys, thank you for watching this. If you really enjoyed this, don't forget to hit the like button below. It's really helpful if you can do that. Drop us a comment. Tell us what your favourite unit is and which detachment you put them in, because no one seems to have the one consistent answer. Everyone seems to have a favourite, and why is it not the possessed warband? Because that doesn't seem to be everyone's favourite.
I wish it
Very
was.
sad.
I wish, because it has some awesome strats and enhancements in it, but they're just, everything only applies to the possessed, and they're just too expensive.
Yeah, and we'll be back at some point, I'm sure. I'm sure I can badger you both to come back. Maybe by that point I'll have played a game myself. What I might do is crank up a TTS game before then. Who knows? But until next time, guys, blood for the blood guard and all that shite, right? Take care.
See you later.
See you later, guys.